Hi everyone, I'm Roshni and this is my home Paro. It means lighthouse in Italian.
Hi, I'm Deepa Suryaprakash, architect at Between Lines Architects, and I happen to be the designer of Paro. In this video, we want to walk you through the house and the design process behind it.
What was your expectation for your home when you were starting the process of engaging the architect?
So I started looking for architects and designers and everybody even before I went and registered the sale of this property. And I met Deepa, when the house was still not yet fully transferred. People were living here. This was a huge building, ground plus two floors, and it was fully built. And we met that time when she came to see the land and the property, how the size is, where it is placed, and all of that. And I wanted a sustainable house as much as possible, and I had no clue about the elements that would go into a house like that. And when I met Deepa, she immediately got my requirement, and I also the main focus for me for building this house was around my dog, and that requirement also, I think that was the first thing in my list of requirements. It was all dog, for this for the dog, next for the dog. So I think that's how we
Yeah.
first got along. And yeah, so that was what I came with. And when I met her, she explained what could be done, what the materials are, and what we can do with this property, and how we can go about with this. And I think that's when I immediately decided, yes, this is the person I want to go with.
How were you convinced about the ideology about the film?
We
Like
went
just
for we went for the open house.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I first met her, she explained to me what it is and what they do and all of that. And then she also took me to a few places that she had already worked on. I visited three. I was like smitten by how the whole building had been brought together, the landscape and the building itself. So yeah, once I visited all of that, I understood the materials better, and that really helped with the.
Yeah, I mean, to sort of answer the same question from my perspective, I think when, like Roshni said, when we first met, she wanted a sustainable home, which was, a hook for me as a requirement. And of course, she said that Dobby, her dog, was going to be the main client. I was immediately convinced that I have to work on this project. And third critical point is that this is in Banashankari, pretty much in the middle of the city. It's an urban plot. It's a 32 by 60 dimension, a corner plot. And it had a choco block kind of a building already. So there was a certain challenge in executing this sustainable, functional home in an urban plot, which was very enticing for me. So I think also the other thing I want to mention is that Roshni was very invested. Like when she came with this idea, she was not only picking a buzzword. When she came for the open house, our conversation sort of very clearly circled around her requirement in terms of spaces, keeping Dobby in mind and her lifestyle and her work in mind. Second thing is she was willing to go the distance to adapt to a sustainable home lifestyle. I think these two were the main reasons why we could immediately engage and proceed with the work.
What's the response or the bigger idea of the house?
Yeah, so like I said, I think the fact that this is an urban plot, I mean, we have worked a lot on residences which are typically in the farmhouse category, much larger land, in the outskirts. And so we have a certain luxury of the area and, working with the elements as they come. But in an urban setup, I think the response was to make sure that you pack a punch, like within this setup, ensure that the requirements are set in. Her requirement mainly was to also bring the existing house down and build a more compact house, which is easy to maintain and it is sustainable, and also make sure that there's a yard space for doggy. And she's a dog lover, so we were expecting that there'll be more dogs coming here to this house. So that was the primary requirement. So, as a response, before even we drew a line in a paper, we decided that the house will work in three parts. That architecture will be one subset, and the way it consumes energy and excretes energy will be dealt with the energy system design. And we really needed the landscape to plug in with the open space we had to be the middle point of completing this triangle. That was the largest strategy. Once we brought this down to these kind of three verticals, we could work in detail, in the individual verticals. We obviously collaborated with architect Smriti on the landscape part, and we dealt with few vendors for the energy, and we took up the architecture and detailing, and that's how the whole project started rolling out.
How is the energy plugin working at the United component?
So instead of seeing energy as an afterthought, I think we looked at optimizing, solar power clearly, and I just checked with Roshni, and she's been running the last 9 months, barring maybe few cloudy days, fully off grid. So we were able to do the math, understand the power or energy requirement of the house, work with this consultant, Mr. Asad from Alto Precision, who suggested a certain system and the method of working with it, optimizing usage of certain, higher energy consuming appliances in certain time of the day. And so we went into a detailed math of that. That's with the solar. In a similar way, we looked at water. We said, okay, how do we treat the grey water system? And we worked with Vasudha Aqua from Chennai. They are consultants who help in managing grey water systems at a residential level. While we do have a lot of options available for large scale housing, large scale apartments to manage the grey water at a residential level in a standalone setup, it was very encouraging to work with them because they had this complete setup that could be installed. So we looked at grey water. This was then getting plugged into the water source for the plants, and we do have plants at the ground level with the earth, and we also have plants in the terrace level in the first and second floor. So the grey water was getting managed and getting reused in watering the plants. Third thing we looked at is the rainwater harvesting. Obviously, that is a default work we do in understanding how much water can be collected, how much can be stored and reused. So that is also sorted in the water category. Finally, we also looked at waste management. So Roshni has already been composting her food waste, so it was an easier plug-in to get that. With the garden, we've also included the leaf composter as part of the garden as an element itself. So the idea is to sort of go into this cradle to cradle model. We're not promising net zero situation here, but like she said, as much as possible, there's a conscious move to integrate these systems, and she's been fantastic in terms of following up with it because, like I said, it takes a little bit of lifestyle change, and she's been willing and enthusiastic and perseverant in following the system, required protocols, adapting to it. And she's very tech savvy also, so that has been very helpful in terms of getting the solar particularly up and running. And we are well in the way to iron out few niggles we've had with grey water, and she's been using rainwater also, and I think that's been quite successful. So in that sense, I feel the house has really come together and it's running well with the original intent that we set up.
You had mentioned architecture being a subset. What do you mean by that and how do you go about it?
Yeah, like I mentioned, in the three verticals of approaching this design process, we had a higher stake in designing the architecture part of it. And in that, because the plot is a corner plot facing north and west with a 32 feet width and a 60 feet depth, we wanted to capitalize and open up the corners and have a wider panoramic view. So we took certain design decisions to position the balconies in the corner, and structurally also we wanted to release the corner. So the two-bay grid to divide the house spatial requirement allowed for a central column that could sort of hold up the corners, which you can see as an element of design. Um, Otherwise, we wanted the structure and the space to inform the overall aesthetics and have something organically fit also. So while we were demolishing the house which was here, we found that there were beautiful teak doors and windows, and we could also salvage some of the foundation stones which we reused in the construction of this building. With that kind of approach, I think Roshni, picked up the idea, and then she showed me that in her grandmother's house there were more doors and windows and few furniture pieces. So because of this idea, from the beginning, we worked with this duality condition. So there were places where we would reuse the old windows and doors, and sometimes conventionally, sometimes unconventionally, and work with it and play with it. And we also brought in new age systems and technologies and windows and storage solutions because that was what was convenient, workable for her requirement. We wanted to honor the requirement. Therefore, the idea of reuse also was taken to the extent we could go with it, and we were also welcoming of the new elements to be fit in. And with regard to the base material, the house, like I said, is a two base system, fairly simple grid. We it is also wanted to be a frame structure for the ease of construction and for future development, etc. With that, we fixed the frame and the infills. We looked at mud blocks, but because of the existing site soil condition and the time that we were working in, we couldn't afford to make the blocks right here. So we found solution with the ready-made interlocking blocks available from Earth Blocks India. So we decided to go with that, and then the frames was then filled in with the earth blocks, and that's how the aesthetics came to be. And it's pretty much that between the way we wanted to divide the structural way and wanting to use what we already had as resource, and picking up a material which will allow for eco-friendly but expedite construction option. We went about it. Some of the finishing materials, for example, we again chose based on the convenience. Because of Dobby, we did not want to go for a slippery natural stone. We went for tiles. And there are also places where we wanted to minimally bring in steel because it was again convenient. So the idea of how it came together sensibly, honoring the requirement, budget, timeline, is a win in an urban context for me as a designer. And we were not having an end goal of attaining 100%, tag of either being sustainable or being, we were not following any ism. It was a natural way it came together. I think that is something I absolutely enjoy, and so in that sense, it's progressive also. It's both evolutionary and it is also sensible to what was there before. And I'm hoping that the response was fruitful.
Oh yeah, I love the design, and also reusing wood and materials like that is not so straightforward, because like I was told by many people, oh, why are you using the same wood? Why don't you buy something new? But for me, I really wanted to reuse whatever was already there. So none of the wooden doors and windows in this house is new. Of course, we have some part of the window and the doors which are made of aluminum. Those are new, but the wooden stuff is all reused. And it was also very creatively done. So if you see the collage window, it was made of windows which are existing here and couple of doors from my grandmother's house. And the door which was converted to a window, you can see that the cutout parts have been used as shelves in the house. So that kind of aesthetic and creativity is what Deepa brought in with the design. And I think, but she was the one who really enforced and ensured that it was made, because I learned a new Tamil word from the carpenter on site. It was like Avadu madam for everything. But Deepa was really, like, this is what the plan is, this is how it should be executed. And it has been executed beautifully. Although the carpenter was all the time saying Avadu, it has come out really beautiful and it's so functional. And that's the beauty of the wood that was reused. And of course, I wanted certain like the wardrobes in a certain way, so the IKEA wardrobe stuff that used like that, and the kitchen. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the other thing which we want to go back to, I think both of us have that understanding that um, we would do what is just enough, and then do it well. And I guess because we were in sync about it, there was no sort of an external pressure between us, and the goal was set very clearly. And we have to mention Ace Construction, who were the team who executed this project. Each subcontractor, barring their initial resistance, because it's not something they are used to, did cooperate once they understood the intent, the larger intent. And without their kind of expertise and cooperation, the house couldn't have stood up as the way it is. So yeah, that's a nod to them too.
Yeah, and they work with new materials. They had never worked with this brick and this kind of reusing wood, and they they were very curious. They were open to learning how to use the material, and they did a really good job at the execution.
Yeah, and to finally say that our primary client Dobby is enjoying the house, and I keep getting photos from Roshni how he's become very welcoming. He enjoys the garden, and the space, and he claims it. And now Shiba has joined the house, so that is the most heartwarming part of handing over this design and seeing it bloom along with its users. So thank you.
One of the main requirements I had, and when I was discussing with Deepa, was the outdoor space. So I knew I definitely wanted a garden space, a space where the dogs can, just go hang out and all of that. And that's when Deepa introduced me to Smriti from Nature Narratives. She's a landscape designer for fun.
How did the context and architecture influence the landscape design? So, just like Deepa mentioned, Anu sits in a very tight urban plot. I think what is important for a landscape designer is firstly the client understanding of the space. So I think Roshni, like she said, she wanted something that's almost like a burst of green because it's a very tight, compact space. And I think the architecture aids that. So if you see, we just have a 10 by 10 on the ground, and the same probably replicates on the upper floors. But what we have done with it is, if you see the interiors or you come out, there is a very strong connection. And I think compact urban spaces, there is a misconception that this cannot be done. I think wisely minimizing the parking or using the green spaces in order to create layering or textures and trying to have a strong connection with the nature is possible even in tighter spaces. How did you perceive Roshni's requirement?
So I've never had a garden space before, and before this, I lived in a rented apartment, and whatever pots or plants I had, like, they never grew. Like, if I told Smriti when I first met her that if I look at a plant, it dies. So that was my main requirement, was I wanted sturdy plants and plants uh, that can grow well here, and yeah.
I think yes, I very fondly remember that because though Roshni was very clear that she wanted wilderness in the site, she was also not very sure if she would be able to manage that much of a landscape. So I think that was one key criteria that we considered. I think, like I said, if the context is adhered to and the planting is done in a manner that it responds to the shape, or if it responds to the fact that it is native or it can be used, it automatically creates an association. And I think in the 9 months that the landscape is flourishing and growing well, and I see Roshni sending me these small WhatsApp notes of the birds chirping or pictures of a butterfly or a bee, and I think that is also something she was looking forward to, and it's really starting to come out together, and it will take some time, but I think it will flourish and grow from.
What was the design intent in terms of the space and volumes?
So the design intent was primarily uh, three. So, like I said, in the planning, the plan was very clear. There was like almost a 10 feet by 10 feet on the ground, a smaller patch on terrace one, and then a larger hardscape patch on terrace two. So at the ground, we try to create volumes in such a way that if you come from the small path exit, the volume suddenly goes up and you feel like you're walking through a taller vertical landscape. Whereas here it becomes more horizontal and you get more layering. So as you spill out of the living, you have a little bit space to come out, put your chair or for Dobby to move around, and the layering then continues onto the compound wall. Another thing Roshni had insisted that is she wants trees. She wants the trees. She wants the lushness to continue in a layering. We have been very mindful of using plants that have a certain texture. So texturally, the garden has more complexity. Hardscape wise, there was not a lot that we did, but we did smaller things that made a difference. We did not get a third material into the picture, but the building plinths itself were extended for her to comfortably walk from one place to another. So over designing, I think, was not the intent at all. Trying to be mindful of uh, only doing as much as required was one of the idea. For instance, we even use that small stone basin and use it in a way that it becomes a small feature with sculptural plants and a little bit of gravel. So overall, I think trying to on the ground that was the intent of the landscape.
What were the ideas you have implemented in the terrace?
So at every level, the idea has been if at the first terrace, for instance, we have more linear and colorful plants, but there is a direct connect when you have the experience. If you see also the neighboring plot in these urban contexts are very close. So a lot of screening on the trellis or the trellis screening fence has a lot of climbers so that you have a more natural vertical edge rather than building a harder wall between two properties. And at the upper level terrace, I think when we started discussing this first, since the architecture doesn't allow for soil depth naturally, it was already decided that it was going to be a hardscape edge. But I think we decided with enthusiasm from Roshni that we will have something more productive there. So if you see again, they are bought out planters, they are FRP planters, but they are layered. So you get a sense of layering there, but you have completely produce related plants. So you have herbs, you have rosemary, you have tulsi, you have papaya, you have curry leaves. So I think even Roshni has now even added some leafy greens. So I think the direct connect of using something that you're growing helps. And even though it's a small gesture, I think it really reduces the glare in the in the terraces. And also all terraces really heat up or they have an urban heat island effect and they really bring it down just by seeing the green when you go up to a terrace. Also, I think the idea of sustainability or eco-friendliness in terms of the landscape has come as firstly there is more softscape and very minimal hardscape. So the importance has been given to the natural earth and planting. The compost pit that is there, I think we have celebrated it in the garden and not try to hide any service as if it's not a part of an ecosystem. We have retained the compost or the collection of the leafy greens where they are. smaller ideas of trying to use species that attract pollinators and attract birds have allowed the garden to have like a home within a home, like we say. So there are multiple homes in one home.
Yeah, and the garden, I never expected it to be like for me. My idea of what I have seen before is just a few potted plants, but then to have a garden like of this scale in such a small space, it's amazing. Like, and the trees, the way they are growing in the last 9 months, everything is so lush and green. It's just such a soothing sight. Like if you're sitting in the living room, you can see the full green just by just by looking out through the glass. And whoever has come here has just loved how the garden and the house go well together. It doesn't feel like two separate designs. They're all integrated, and it really looks like a resort.
Also, it's very encouraging to see Dobby enjoy the space as much as us.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I feel being conscious of what we plant, whether it is pet friendly or not, whether it is native or not, has not only helped maintain but has also helped all species be happy in the home.